Welcome to the Storytelling Lab, where we break down the art and science of storytelling. My name is Rain Bennett. I am your host, and I'm a filmmaker and an author on a quest to understand how we can tell better stories so that we can do better work and make the world a better place. Each episode, I host one of the world's best storytellers to help you understand how to leverage storytelling to increase your sales, deepen your connections, and serve your audiences better. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode, and I hope that you love it. Zeinab, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you?
Fine.
Okay, great. I want to start off and just go ahead and jump into it. I have the privilege of meeting storytellers from all over the world, like yourself. And what I'm always interested to know is what exactly is your mission? What is the change that you're trying to affect in the world through storytelling specifically?
Okay, so first of all, I would say that I don't know, or let me just talk about myself. When I
Good.
wanted to come out as a storyteller, I was actually looked down on because people felt like anything story would not fetch you money. And like I'm talking about me now. Do you understand? So people felt like anything storytelling would not fetch you money. And I remember when I started, I didn't like the attention I am getting now. I didn't get it at that point because they didn't know that I could make money from writing. At that point, I didn't know too. Do you understand? Until I realized that storytelling is the new deal and brands are lacking when it comes to writing stories. They have no idea that with stories they can connect with their audience, they can sell their offers, they can educate, enlighten, entertain, and what have you. So felt like I just felt like we didn't have enough like storytellers for brands on LinkedIn. So I decided to just focus more. It was last year, 2023, that I decided to just focus on writing stories for brands, just to let them know that we like the world now, we are not doing that boring content anymore. We have gone far beyond that. I hope I answered the question.
So, what gave you that confidence when other people doubted that you would be able to make a living off of that? Why did you still go forward with that? What was the voice inside of your head that told you, like, yeah, no, I'm going to do this?
Well, I'd say that I'm a passion girl, passion in quotes, because anything writing, I will fight. Is it tooth and nail? I don't know, but I will make sure that anything I want, I get it. For example, I ditched my ordinary national diploma certificate in architectural technology to study mass communication. That is how passionate I can be. So I can remember people telling me to go into tech. I'm like, I want to write. So what gave me the confidence was the fact that for me to switch from being a full science class to a premature art class, I can do anything. People mocked me at that point. People thought I failed until they saw my result and realized that I actually graduated with the best result for our department at that time. So because I did that, I was able to switch from science to art class. I just felt like nothing can stop me. I can do it. And at that point, I only had my mommy support me. I didn't really tell my daddy because that meant he would tell my family members. They'll not start calling me, trying to change my mind. So at that point, I just felt like, I did this. Okay, sorry. Let me say God did it. So anything I want to do, I'll just go for it. So I think because of what I did at that point, that gave me the ginger that I needed to actually go into storytelling deeply. I didn't even care about anybody. And now I thank God.
When people work in the storytelling space, often other people don't quite understand what we do. And many of us do different things through storytelling. So, how do you define if you met someone, they were like, what exactly do you do? How do you define what you do for work?
For me, I'd say I help brands thrive through the use of words. Do you understand? I mean, recently I reached out to somebody to volunteer my storytelling skills. I would say my storytelling skills. And the person was like, is storytelling needed in this digital age? Are they making money from storytelling? And I'm like, at this age and stage, you don't know that you can make money from storytelling. So for me, I just left to that person and just focused on, helping brands. For now, I am actually helping brands to use storytelling basically to sell, educate, entertain, and what have you. So did I answer the question or I digressed? I want to know.
No, but I mean, I like digression because that's where we get the thorough responses here on the show. So, yeah,
Ah,
say what you want to say, but yes is the short answer. You answered my question very well. Um,
okay.
but let's talk about that point that that person had about can you use storytelling in the digital age? I mean, I would say that not only can you, but you absolutely should be. I mean, what is your response to that question?
Well, I was very pissed at that person because when if you want to list top creators, LinkedIn top creators for Nigeria, it would definitely be, let's say, top 100 or something. It would definitely be one of them. Do you understand? So he is a graphic designer, and I was shocked to have him ask me that question: is storytelling a digital skill? Can you learn can you make money from storytelling, this and that? At first I actually wanted to tell him to check it on Google, but
Mhm.
I just felt like I didn't want to be rude. And when you know something is right, you don't need to argue with that person. You don't need to prove any point. Sooner or later, he would realize. And thank God I am back on LinkedIn, giving them content back to back. And definitely, he has come across my post before, and he would know. He would see the answers to his questions. That's just it. I didn't answer him. I didn't let anybody bother me. Can
You
you hear
know,
me?
yeah, very
Okay.
well. I'm collecting what you're saying. One of the things that I love historically about the region where you come from in West Africa is the history of great storytellers, griots, right? And so this has been a part of West African culture forever.
Yeah.
And a lot of different areas had these historic tribal storytellers. I'm wondering if there's has that history of storytelling um, in your area impacted the way you like culturally that you do your brand storytelling now?
Mm,
Do you think you approach brand storytelling differently as a Nigerian?
do I what?
Do you feel like you approach your storytelling differently because of your heritage as a Nigerian and the rich history of storytelling that's embedded in that culture?
Yes, I feel our approach is very different. I can
Tell me.
remember someone reaching out to me to get my paid newsletters, and she said something like she felt like it was best for people to learn more from African storytellers. It's not because we are saying other storytellers are not good, but when it comes to creating content, you first of all need to think about your audience. So at this point, if you want to relate with Nigerians, if you want to enter them, if you want to tap into their emotions, you need to create stories related to our country. You need to create stories related to the events happening in our country. So let's say, okay, I'm a Nigerian, and I know that I have many Nigerians in my is it target audience, happy followers, and I start writing stories based on Obodo Oyinbo. You people like start writing stories based on London, United States, and what have you, they will not be able to relate. But I know the thing is, okay, some will be able to relate, but for people around here, imagine, see, I can remember one time I wrote a story about how I mistakenly added Vim. Vim is what we used to wash the back of a pot. I added it into rice instead of salt, and I posted the story. And somebody from Zimbabwe had to book a consultation with me, and she was like, "It was because of that story she had to reach out to me." And I'm like, ah. So even it's just, I don't know, it's just relatability. When you write stories, Nigerian stories, for example, somebody something happened in my neighborhood, my neighbor did this, my neighbor did that, you would see 90% of them who can relate, and they would enjoy it so much. So now imagine using those kind of stories for your brand. Do you understand? In as much as you can relate every story to what your audience needs, you are good to go. For me, that's what I think. So our approach is very, very different. Did I answer the question? I really
Yes.
need to.
Yes, it
Okay.
did. Do you primarily work with Nigerian clients, or do you find yourself now working with people all over the globe?
All over the globe, please. But Nigerian stuff, actually.
When did you start to notice that your work as a brand storyteller was starting to catch attention in other places outside of your community?
Okay, so I would say that was when I volunteered for um an Indian man, but at that point he was based in London. So he wanted somebody to manage his startup page, I think on LinkedIn. So I at that point I was just trying to use storytelling and stuff, like just started, although I was already posting carousels on how brands could use storytelling, but then I just wanted to make it work for a particular brand. So whenever I sent the stuff to him, or whenever I posted, he would just reach out to me and say, okay, you did well today, this thing was very good and stuff like that. And then he now referred me again to his friend. His friend reached out to me and said I was going to create content for their brands, this and that. So at that point I just felt like, okay, because normally I just if at that point the storytelling thing was not doing well, it definitely would have not referred me to his friend. In fact, at the point, I actually wanted to just. I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to undo his friend's this thing, but this man just kept coming back. So I just felt like, okay, let me just try. So that's all I can say for now, because I've been on and off, on and off. So now is the time that I can say that I am back fully, and I am open to see what LinkedIn has to offer me, basically.
Why is LinkedIn your platform of choice, would you say?
I don't know. LinkedIn has jazzed me. I don't know. It
Has
has just charm on me
LinkedIn has
because
what?
it has jazzed me. It has just charm on me. I don't know what I see in that platform, because ideally, I don't do just brand storytelling. I also write short stories, novels. I also do screenwriting, and
Nice.
the person who taught me screenwriting already told me that Instagram is the real deal. That's where I can build as per screenwriting. But no, any small thing LinkedIn, any small thing LinkedIn. I don't know. I just love the platform, because one thing about me is when it comes to my beginning, I always love sticking to the people, the things, who and who and where. Hey, sorry, who and that were there for me. Like the people who were there for me and the things that were there for me. So I would say LinkedIn was there for me. It was the first platform that gave me that. Hey, what's it called? It was not the first platform where I started putting out my stuff. Do you
Hmm.
understand? I mean, on LinkedIn, I could post without anybody judging me and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So the fact that I was looking for where to write and LinkedIn was just there for me, that's why I'm just like, I don't know, I just love the platform. To be
Well,
honest, I love the platform.
it's important when your work feels embraced like that, or at least when you feel like you have the space to be yourself and tell your stories, right? And you don't
Yeah,
feel like you're being criticized for them. That's
yeah.
really important for growth and confidence and consistency and all of that. So you mentioned that as kind of a platform that opened itself up to you and embraced you. Who are some of the people in your story and your journey that have helped? I mean, you mentioned this Indian person, Indian man that you volunteered for or interned with, perhaps. Um, who else served as mentors for you along your way that kind of gave you that space, that gave you that encouragement to believe in yourself?
Well, to be honest, before I came out as a storyteller, there were a few people that I troubled because I was very confused. Imagine posting on LinkedIn since 2021, I think, and I gained clarity in 2023, late 2023. I would say there is Joy C. There is my coach, because it was a class, a LinkedIn content creation bootcamp that I attended that opened my eyes. Do you understand? It was because of a class that I finally realized that okay, I just wanted to do storytelling, and that would be Coach Oluwabumi Ayodele. And when it now comes to finally coming out, leaving my comfort zone, I would say because when he got to leaving my comfort zone, as in coming out fully as a storyteller, I actually started on WhatsApp. Do you understand? And I would mention the names of Oluwajumilo Cecilia and then Cracky Brown. That's Ifeoluwa success, because it was one of the few I reached out to. I would send voice note to him and tell him I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to put myself out as a storyteller. I don't know how to, I was just so confused. And he was even the one that told me about storytelling marketing. I didn't even know it was something I was already doing. So he opened my eyes, encouraged me and stuff. And I would also like to mention Winifred, because she was the one that tagged me to a contest about short stories. I didn't know I could write short stories, and I just wrote a story. I ignored the major rule of tagging people, and I came started, and I'm like, something that I was even planning to reach out and say, do you want to embarrass me? I've never written a short story from a picture before, and what have you. But yes, those are the people that I know that okay, they have supported me one way or the other. When it comes to mentor, I don't really have a mentor.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't really
okay. I
have.
mean, I think there's a lot of people that fill that role or similar roles without necessarily being a mentor, like from up here helping you. But anybody that helps you along your journey, I find is incredibly important, right? In the early days when you were just getting started, what were some of the things that you struggled with most in terms of making this transitioning into being a storyteller full time?
Okay, so what's the question? Sorry.
In the beginning, when
Okay.
you were seeking to make this transition into being a storyteller full time, doing this for your career, what were some of the things that you struggled with most?
I would say knowing the is it brands to create content for, because it just crossed my mind to start creating carousels for brands on how to use storytelling. So I didn't know the brands to start with. Do you understand? And then I realized that I just needed to make research, and also my brain had to I had to expand my brain, because I realized that if one was not careful, you would run out of story ideas. If you are not careful, you would run out of story ideas because you didn't do the necessary things. So first of all, I had to, before I finally started creating that carousels, I had to do thorough research. I just had to remind myself that this thing is a continuous thing. I cannot post a carousel today and the next day for the carousel, and I'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry guys, something happened, this and that. I didn't want any excuses, so I ensured that I already had everything I needed, everything that would make it difficult for me. I planned out everything from even though I knew that it was just one carousel per brand, I still ensured that I had extra ideas for each brand. Do you understand? You can repurpose on LinkedIn. So I don't know. Some the things that would have made it difficult for me to transition. I ensured that I worked on everything before transitioning, so I would not just stop halfway and be giving flimsy excuses.
You mentioned earlier that you write short stories, you write screenplays, which is awesome. I write screenplays as well.
Wow.
How do you think that helps, or does that help your ability to write these short form stories as LinkedIn posts that are targeting brands? Or does it help you by having these other creative outlets where you're working and training that storytelling muscle by doing creative storytelling? Do they help each other?
To me, I they do. Oh. Hmm. They do, especially when you're writing screenplays. When you're writing when you're writing a script, you are being very descriptive. You are giving all the details, from the room is decorated, blah blah blah, to how we show the gesticulations and the reactions and everything. So to me, I would say it helps a lot. For example, there was this script I wrote with the person who taught me how to write scripts, and the script was a funny one. It was a comedy. It was also episodic, and the major character inspired another character in a short story that I wrote. Do you understand? So to me, I just feel like everything is intertwined. For example, let's say something happened, or let's say I can decide to use a particular episode for a brand story. Do you understand? There will be something. There is no way if I go back to any of my scripts that I've written, any of my short stories that I've written, I will get something that I can use for any brand. What I just need to do is look for a way to make it relatable to the audience of that brand. Because even if I want to write stories from my personal experiences, I always look for a way to make it about my audience. I would talk about it from the beginning, but in the end, it should be about my audience. So what I do is, to me, I feel like they are very related. Like they help me when it comes to screenwriting, short stories. They help me when it comes to writing stories for brands. Did I answer it?
Yes. Who
Okay.
are the best storytellers? Nigerians or Americans?
Sorry for this thing, oh. Me, I am proud of my country, oh. And because I am still in the mood of our independence, which we did yesterday, we are number one. We are, I don't know, I might say for movies, you people have the, is it technology, I'll call it. But when it comes to writing stories, especially our origin stories, we are number one. We are the best. Sorry.
That's okay. I gotta say, you might have us in music as well. I absolutely love Nigerian music. I never made it to Nigeria, but I spent a lot of time in Equatorial Guinea, so I was close. I could see the shore of
We are
Nigeria.
one.
Yeah, but I couldn't
Yeah.
quite get there. But yeah, the culture in West Africa is great as well as the music. But good to know you're the
Come
best,
to Nigeria, oh, please.
huh?
Come to Nigeria now.
I would love
We are the
to.
giants of Africa.
You're the what of Africa?
Giants of Africa.
What city are you in?
Lagos.
The city.
Lagos is the center of excellence. Yes, Lagos is the center of excellence.
I was close. I really wanted to get there, so hopefully one day.
Okay.
What's a piece of advice about storytelling that you hear a lot that you hate
Mm.
or that you think is not great advice?
So for me, I was once in a free class where the person encouraged our student to write stories, but then she encouraged them to share their links. Like it's just like an engagement pod, just so they would have enough reactions. And in the real
Hmm.
sense, he told them that stories can connect, it can build connection and also foster engagement. But if you are telling people that stories can do all these things, why then are you encouraging them to use engagement pods? I mean, in reality, that means you are not confident in the fact that stories can foster engagement. For example, I create stories on LinkedIn. I don't have to use engagement boards. I don't have to use anything, and that is the real definition of storytelling. I mean, I am engaging with my audience organically. I am doing this organically. I'm not doing it with there's I don't want to say Yoruba. I'm not using shortcuts. Do you understand? So I feel like it's not a good advice to tell people to um use stories and then use the engagement pods. They're like this
Yeah.
opposites. I know online posts they attract, but at this point they are not attracting. They're like this forever. So
No,
to me, I feel like that's not a great advice. You're indirectly you're telling them that stories don't drive engagement. And to
right.
me that's
Absolutely. I completely agree. I think that was a great response. And also it makes it prohibits people, storytellers, from finding their voice that does connect authentically. It's
exactly.
like now I'm just relying on, engagement that we have created out of nowhere. And so I don't know if what I have to say really means anything to anybody in the audience or not,
Hmm, that's
you
it.
know? I think it's so important that you find how Zainab tells stories and I find how Rain tells stories. And if we're getting fake engagement out there, then we both think we're doing great and we might not be.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Um, let's flip that around. Instead of a bad piece of advice, what's a
Okay.
simple piece of advice that you would give to someone to make them a better storyteller today, like immediately, like simple change they can make to their storytelling?
Well, I'd say find what works for you because when you're starting out as a storyteller, you might be tempted to copy someone else's writing style. You might be tempted to copy someone else's writing style, all in the name of I want to get to where this person is, or I also want to be like this person. It's a different thing if you admire that person's writing style, but don't you ever copy someone else's writing style. I mean, do you be yourself? My own writing style now, life is not art. Do you understand? My writing style is in between being professional and being funny. Do you understand? And we have those that their writing style is fully professional. We have those whose writing style is fully funny. Do you understand? So just find what works for you. I'm so sorry. What's that? Can
That's the
you?
light. That's the light shining upon you because of all this genius that's pouring out of your mind right now.
They just brought the light to. They just restored our power supply. So the this thing is on. I think that's. Can I close the video and or should I just stand up and turn it off?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can cut it off. We're live.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's going crazy. You have a ghost in there.
Oh my god. Is my daddy around? Ha ha ha, he came to see me.
Is that the light? Is yeah, maybe mine's there too.
Okay, your
What is
daddy is home.
what is it? The light bulb?
I don't know.
No, is the light bulb changing colors or is that your phone?
No, I've turned it off. It's not my phone.
It's something. What are you looking up at?
Hey,
Wait, there
I'm
we
the
go.
only one around though. God, I beg, have mercy on me. Something is wrong somewhere and I cannot figure it out. No
But
bulb is
but is
on.
that happening on the phone or is that happening in real life, like in the room?
No, nothing is happening here actually. Everything is cool.
That's strange. Here, cut your
Ghost.
cut your cut your video off and come back see if that fixes it.
Okay, okay.
Are you running out of battery? I told you to charge it.
No, it's 62 now.
Oh, okay, well, that's not bad. You started at 70.
Yes.
Hey, everybody, this is the Storytelling Lab. If you are watching live, tell me what light bulbs, get it, have gone off in your mind since you've been watching. What are some of the things Zainab has said that have resonated with you? There's been several. This is our first time really having a chat. We connected on LinkedIn and have chatted over text a few times, but I absolutely love the things that she's been saying, especially what we were just talking about, which is if you're just trying to copy someone else's style just to try to get what they have, that is not going to be a great strategy. Here she is. There we go. Look at you, looking lovely. The light is perfect. Let's continue on.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I was talking about you when you were gone to the audience, so you can ask them later what I said. Maybe it was good. I don't know.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about strategy. So, you have chosen this platform of LinkedIn. You said it really embraced you. You've just now described your style, which is somewhat serious, but also somewhat funny, i.e., being yourself, right? Having personality. I think you're very funny. You've been making me laugh the whole conversation. But strategically, how do you show up? How do you leverage LinkedIn? How do you get your storytelling advice and perspective across to people actually, like tactfully or tactically on LinkedIn?
Okay, so like I said, as a storyteller, I don't do boring content. And for me, if you want to teach me, for example, when I was in school, I understood the lecturers who used storytelling more than other lecturers that would just come to class and just and that's it. And till date, I can still remember stories of what we've been told, the Iraq War, this and that, and everything. Do you understand? So for me, I believe that if you want to, in fact, it's not even about children now. It's about adults too. Children, adults, the old, the young, everybody. If you want to educate them, you need to first of all tell stories. You don't just come and say, okay, oh, we want to tell you something. Today we want to teach you this. Do you understand? So for me, the strategy I use is so obvious. I start with storytelling first. In fact, you will not even know where I'm carrying you to. You will just get to the end and see that I have switched. Do you understand? And then in the comment section, you'll be like, oh, I didn't see this coming. The same thing I did yesterday. I first of all gave them one story that, that because if you want to get your audience attention, if you want them to read to the end, you need to start from the beginning. At this point, it's not even about hook. If you hook them with the first line, what about the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth? To the end. Do you understand? So for me, I'll say I use storytelling from the beginning. If I want to educate you, if I want to share a lesson, if I want to share a tip, anything, I would use storytelling. In fact, the story that I was supposed to post today, it's a personal experience. It's like a story about how I was embarrassed. Do you understand? But then I already took some tips, storytelling tips out of that story. And that is me for you. I will not just come straight up. It's only when I know that I mean business that I say, okay, I just want to teach you directly. But at that point, the first and second line will even hook you. You will not want to leave. You have to read to the end. So for me, but majorly, I do more of starting with stories first. And the story is not like lie or anything. It's not that I am clickbaiting you. It's just me giving you preamble of what to expect. For example, let's say I want to tell you something serious, something that I didn't know. People have been telling you, you have refused to listen. Okay, now you now decide to come to my page. You will learn that thing by force by fire because you would have to read that story from the beginning till the end. So when you now read, you now be like, oh, this is me they are talking to. Oh, I can relate. Oh, I've been there before. So for me, that is it. I believe in using stories to start first, and then in the end, you just give them. Even if it's violence you want to do in the end, it will enter their body. They will not really feel it like that. So that's it. Did I
So it's
answer you?
so it's okay to use personal stories when you are using storytelling for business. Is that what you're saying?
Very okay. But just having to in mind that it is not about you. For example, I said I was going to share, I'll share later this evening though, a story about how I was embarrassed. But in the end, it's not about me, it's about my audience. I just share that story to take some tips that they can learn, storytelling tips that they can learn. So, for example, you want to, share a a story of how you failed. It's not about you, it's about your audience. At this point, you are using for every story that you share, they have their goals here. So, let's say you want to share a story of how you failed. At this point, you are trying to connect with your audience. You are trying to make your audience know that, see, I'm not a robot. I'm human like you. I have failed before I got to this point. Do you understand? And definitely, you would see some of your audience who can relate. And let's say, even that failure story, you can even use it to sell. You can tap into people's emotions. You come from that perspective of failure. You come from that perspective of, oh, I am tired of going again. Do you understand? For example, your story might be a driving force for someone who is about to give up. Maybe the person failed just once, so because some people they don't have the strength to keep going again. And your story is like the lights that they needed. Do you understand? In fact, even if you don't sell, they'll be the one to reach out to you and be like, do you have any mentorship? How did you do it? This and that. Do you understand? In as much as every story you put out there is not for you to sell, you can strategically use that story to sell. If you write it well, if you know that, okay, this story, I can use it to inspire, maguire, perspire, or anything. Yeah. Do you understand? And this story, I can use it to sell. Maybe my mentorship, maybe my class on business. Do you understand? Especially if you tap into their emotions very well. If you talk more about that failing part, because most people, when it comes to failing, they just feel like their that's the end of their pride. I mean, their pride has gone into whatever what a busy ego I'll call it. Some people hate to fail. So now imagine that you are now focusing on that failing part. Do you understand? You are now positioning yourself as someone they can run to. Do you understand? Instead of going through it alone, instead of failing, don't worry, come, let's do this thing together. Let's go at it together. So that is what I think. In as much as you want to share your personal experiences, put your audience first. Look for how your audience can benefit from this story you're about to share. And you will see. Use their pain points. You will see.
Oh my gosh, you're killing it. What are your favorite types of brands to work with?
Well, I am very versatile, to be honest. Very, very versatile.
Yeah, but
But
which ones do you personally love
um,
working with the most?
I would say health,
Hmm.
fashion, um, anything food, maybe catering or stuff, because I do a little bit of catering too. So I would say I don't know, is it travel and tour companies they call them or what? I mean, I don't know. I just feel like to me, it's just all about testing me. I don't mind any brand as long as you can just test me. You can take me away from my comfort zone. That'll let my brain be on fire. Like, girl, you have to think. So as for
So you
me,
you like you like working with probably new kinds of brands that present new challenges for you, it sounds like.
yes,
Yeah,
that will
so
make me put myself.
yeah, I like that. My background is in documentary filmmaking, and one of my favorite things about what I do is that each film that I make, I get to dive deeply into a different culture or business or industry, and learn about that. Right. So each project that I do completely teaches me something new as well. So I hear you on that, and it's exciting. That's what keeps my work exciting. What are the things? How do you serve your clients? What are the things that you offer? Is it
Things
just
like
consultation, or do you have products? Do you have courses? Like, how do you deliver your information and your knowledge and your
oh,
perspective?
okay, so I have consultation, I have mentorship programs, so is it one-on-one access or something? I have my paid storytelling newsletters, basically for brands. I have my book, Storytelling Toolkit for Personal Brands. And recently, I started this consistency challenge thing for brands who want to, get better at storytelling.
Hmm.
This one, I actually did it for those who paid for my newsletters because I just finished one in August. So I now decided for 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, I just told all of them, okay, let's have a consistency challenge. And some are going for 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. So at this point, this is what I am currently doing now. And yes, that is all I have for now. For now, basically. And I also do ghostwriting too. Yeah.
You do ghostwriting as well, so you
Yes.
stay busy. Where do you where do you want to take this? Um, what would you like to be doing with storytelling, or maybe not? 5 or 10 years from now, I mean, what would you want to see this career, this storytelling career, develop into in the future, in your heart?
Well, one of my subscribers intentionally told me that she imagined me being a chief storyteller for a brand, something like that. So I would want to, I would want to have a, I don't know how to say it. I just want to help brands and not just because I'm just like coming up now. Of course, I would want to take different brands, but 5, 10. Did you say 5, 10 years?
Yeah.
I would have to stick to a few
Hmm.
brands that are not doing the same thing actually. So I would, like she said, I would want to be their chief storyteller. I would want to take their brands to great places actually. I would also want to be a great author because I write novels too. I have a book on Wattpad. I would also want to be a great screenwriter. Oh my god. I have many things, but it's just that for now I just want to focus on helping brands and working on my screenwriting portfolio, working on my novels and stuff. But I just want to take it one step at a time. That's
I
it.
think that's wise. And to be honest, that's the way to get anywhere that we're trying to achieve something, right? It's just one step at a time. I'm very much like you in the sense that like I have a lot of different passions in terms of my storytelling and writing, and yeah, if you try to just jump to all of them, it won't happen. So I think you're on the right path. Just the consistency challenge is a great approach, because if you aren't consistent, then you'll never get there. But I think sometimes it's hard not to get excited about all the things you want to do, and that can actually like hurt you. I think
Yeah.
you mentioned something about wanting to be the chief storyteller. So I've been kind of marinating on this and pondering on this topic specifically a lot over the past couple of months about a chief storytelling officer or a chief storyteller. In fact, 2 episodes ago on the podcast, I had the first chief storytelling officer for Nike was on the show, and he's
Yeah,
worked for
I
he's
saw.
worked for Nike for 50 years, and I think that he was the first time anyone had that title in business, at least over here in the states. Now it's pretty common, but in the '90s when he became the chief storytelling officer, I don't think anyone had had that title before. And Nike is obviously very big in storytelling.
Yeah,
So
very, very big.
tell me a little bit about what you think the responsibilities of a chief storyteller for a brand would be. What would that person do in your opinion?
Hmm. To be honest, eh? To me, I just feel like that is it that role is more of storytelling marketing, and it's not just limited to writing stories. It is also about doing visual storytelling, everything storytelling. I think that is it. I don't really know the. I don't know. Is the name too big? And I don't know, but I just believe that it's just related to anything storytelling, marketing, visual storytelling, normal storytelling, using images to tell stories. Is that not it?
Let me give
It's
you
more of marketing actually.
let me phrase the question in another way. It,
Okay.
if you got that position at a brand that you really loved, and no one had had that position before, no one had been a chief storyteller for this brand, what would be the first actions and responsibilities and tasks, and the big or the largest responsibilities and actions and tasks that you would focus on if you could write the script for what this company's storytelling approach would be? How would you handle that? What would you focus on?
If I'm supposed to start from the scratch, I would start from the ground floor. Um Abby, yes, their origin story, their mission, vision, values, and everything before we now talk about how we are going to use storytelling to convert, basically. That is the short answer I have. That is the best answer I can give. I think I think the fact that you said the that person is the first chief storyteller of Nike. I'm already scared though, because me, I'm just coming up. So Nike is a big brand, and I've not worked for a big brand before. So I honestly don't know how it's going to be, because working for a big brand will be a whole lot. But to me, I just feel like it's more of, if I want to start from the scratch, I need to work on the brand story, the vision, mission, values, and everything. We first of all need to communicate that in storytelling format before we now decide to start using stories to educate, enlighten, to convert. Yes, basically. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely. Last question for today. What is one thing that you try to do every day better than you did the day before?
Sleep.
Sleep? Tell me why. I think that's important. I agree with that wholeheartedly, but I want to hear your reasoning.
I actually, in fact, my mom is always having issue with me because I don't really sleep. Do you understand? So I don't know. In fact, it was because I didn't really sleep. Is it the day before yesterday? I That was how I kind of missed my posting time. It's not like I missed it, but LinkedIn is about give and take. Engage before you post and stuff. I didn't have time to engage, so I woke up late. So if I don't sleep well today now, I am definitely going to pay for it tomorrow. So I just try. If I don't sleep well today, I just try and just ensure that I sleep well tomorrow. Because one thing about me is when I don't sleep well, my head is always suffering for it, and it's this head that I need to work. So tell me how I am supposed to continue if my head is always banging. It's even always pinning me from inside if I don't sleep properly. In the afternoon too, I will lie to myself that don't worry, I will just take a nap and stuff. It's a lie. Everything is a big lie. So to me, what I intend to do better because sleep is the king. If I don't sleep well, I will not deliver well, and I really need to sleep well. That's it.
I would never have guessed that that would have been your answer to that question. I would have thought it would have been something about being consistent or writing and yada, yada, yada. It's the perfect answer because there is no life work balance, right? It's just life. And how we show up in our profession and what we're trying to do to impact and change the world and to serve our audiences is directly tied to how we serve ourselves, is
Yes.
directly tied to our mental health, to our physical
Mm-hmm.
health, to our
Yes.
rest and recovery, all of that. And so I just think it's a perfect place to end today because if we aren't taking care of ourselves, there's absolutely no way that we can take care of the others that we're trying to help. So beautiful answer, beautiful responses, beautiful conversation. Zainab, I appreciate you being here so much. This was incredible, and I wish you all the success in your storytelling journey. I think I lost